What's going on? And welcome back to the podcast, Third and 13. What up, my guy G out here? What's going on, my boy?
Nothing much, brother. Nothing much. It's time for the NFL. Best part of the NFL season. For some people, I mean, especially teams who are not very good. This is a regular season. No,
This used to be our favorite part.
I was about to say this was the Lions at one point. Before last year, this was our favorite time. So uh, we got the NFL free agency coming up, almost draft season too. Yes, sir. I'm ready for it.
A couple days away from free agency, and that's what we want to talk about today. There are some really, a lot of good free agents going on. And I'm curious to talk about a couple, maybe some that you might think are worth the sign for different teams, who you think might grab, where they might go. Um, and man, let's start off. I know you wanted to talk about, you wanted to mention the quarterback market. What do you think about the quarterback market? There are actually, and this isn't really regularly you don't have quarterbacks, starting quarterbacks in free agency. And
Exactly.
starting quarterbacks who had good years, right? Like you don't typically see them in free agency. That's not like a regular thing that happens. Um, but we have a few. We have a few. What are your thoughts on the free agent market when it comes to the quarterback?
I think this is a unprecedented year as far as QBs because
Yeah,
off the top of my head I can name there's three quarterbacks in free agency right now who were starting on their teams last year, and I
yeah,
feel like were pretty quality players last year.
yeah, yeah.
So going into free agency, that's a big deal because typically to get a starting quarterback, you got to make a trade, trade some pretty decent assets to get them. So I think this is a big year for a lot of teams to go out and try to secure themselves a starting quarterback. Now,
Yeah,
I don't think none of these quarterbacks are like in long term solutions.
right.
Although put on the right team can turn a team instantly to a contender. Um,
Mhm.
because the first one is obviously the main man on the market. Well, that would be Kirk Cousins. Kirk
Mhm.
Cousins is probably given. You know, we did hear some reports that we're not quite sure exactly what his plan is as far as with Minnesota, but we are expecting him to hit the market, and I think he's going to have a lot of suitors.
He's a good quarterback.
He's a
He
good
has his
quarterback.
moments where he's not great and things of that nature, but he's a good quarterback.
Put in the right situation though, on the
Mm-hmm.
right team, I think he's can excel.
Mm-hmm.
Um, my question to you is, where do you see Kirk Cousins playing in the 2024-2025 season? Where do you see
So,
Kirk going?
so man, I saw some report the other day where there was, I want to say maybe yesterday, there was some possible interest in him going to Atlanta, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now,
Mm-hmm.
I think that's interesting because I know there's also interest in Atlanta possibly getting Justin Fields. So I know
Yep.
who that's another piece of free agency where there's trades, right? Even though Justin Fields isn't a free agent,
Yep.
the situation that the Bears are in and the way he's being treated is almost as if he's going to be a free agent, right? In some
Absolutely.
ways, not the same way. He can't necessarily go where he wants, but he can go in different areas and different things like that. So I'm really, really curious to see if Kirk goes to Atlanta. The reason being too, there's a lot of good quality players on their team, on their offense, that if they get a better quarterback, they could excel. They could be a scary offense if they get a good quarterback, actually. I mean, you got Drake London, you have Bijan Robinson. Kyle Pitts hasn't even, really, because he didn't really have a quarterback, they didn't target him a lot these first 2 years of his season, which is crazy. But he's such a talent. Um, those three guys with a good quarterback, they could excel. I think they could really have some. And you have is Algier there? The backup the other running back that they have.
Right. 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 Right.
He's pretty talented. He has some big play ability. So I think Atlanta would be a really good place for Kirk Cousins. Um, I'm not sure of another spot. But I definitely think that would be good because we've seen him with Minnesota when his guys are healthy, they play well, right? He when he
Yeah,
had when JJ started a couple years ago when he first got going, and then when he also had Dalvin Cooks, Dalvin Cook a couple years ago, right? Before before he kind of let him go last year, when they were on their game, they were on their game. He had Thielen, you had JJ, you had Cook, like he had guys, and they were pretty nice. So, I mean, you put him with some young talent. I think that'd be a good move for the both sides.
I like that. I like that
Hmm.
spot.
Hmm.
Um, I would say I put that percentage at about a 3% chance that happens. And
That's
here's
crazy.
why.
That's
Here's
crazy.
why to Atlanta. Because there's another quarterback who's not a free agent technically, but
Mm.
I feel like the whole market is going to kind of wait until that domino drops. And that
Hmm.
man name is Justin Fields.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
And here's the issue with Justin Fields. Justin Fields, I feel, is a perfect candidate for
Hmm.
Atlanta.
Hmm.
That is Justin Fields' hometown.
Hmm.
As a young team, and I feel like it's a team he can really take over and mold and make into his own. I think that is the
Hmm.
perfect scenario as far as trading for Justin Fields. And so I do
Hmm.
feel like this QB market is going to kind of chill for a second
Hmm.
until the Bears kind of figure out what they want to do as far as
Yeah.
trading him is concerned. Because it's starting to seem like they're leaning Caleb. So if they do that, um, I I do think that's a mistake, but that's kind of just for another day. But I do believe they're going to go
You
Caleb
think
instead.
you think it's a mistake for them to draft Caleb, or necessarily is it more about the mistake of getting rid of Justin Fields?
I think it's a mistake getting rid of Justin Fields. I
I
feel like when
agree.
you have a good quarterback,
I agree.
you don't get rid of your good quarterback in hopes that someone is better. I
And
just
he
it's
got better. He got better as the season went on. That those
yeah,
final, I don't know, 6 games, 5 or 6 games,
yeah,
he was proven to be a lot better. And I agree with you. I do think Justin Fields is better for Atlanta going forward than Kirk Cousins. Do I think Kirk Cousins is currently a better quarterback per se? Yes, at this very moment, but I think more dynamic is Justin Fields, and I think the potential is just higher with Justin Fields. Um,
exactly.
so, and I
Um,
mean, he's much younger.
yeah, I'll say this. I now as far as where I believe Kirk Cousins is going to go, I have it's kind of a twofold part. I
Mm-hmm.
ultimately I believe he's going to be in Minnesota. I think he's going back to Minnesota. I
Mm-hmm.
do. I do think that's where he will get his. He stands his best chance to succeed going forward. I think it'll be in Minnesota. Now, where I would like to see him go, just because I feel like it'll be a good fit, would
Mm-hmm.
be Pittsburgh. I would like to see him as
Mm.
a veteran quarterback
Mm.
in Pittsburgh. I feel like
Mm.
that's what they need over there. I think I would love to see him with Tomlin and the
Pickens,
crew. Yeah,
Johnson.
I feel like that'll be a perfect scenario over there with the history
Mm.
of that organization. Um, I feel like that'll be a good fresh start reset for Kirk, and I think he can bring a lot over there. But I do ultimately think when the dust settles, I do think he's going to end up back in Minnesota because I think it's going to be proven, and just how I feel, I think it's going to be proven that everyone's going to kind of want to wait for the Justin Fields thing,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't think Chicago's going to be in any rush. And I think Minnesota is going to be the one team that's going to want him back. Now they should want him back. Now I don't know
Mm-hmm.
what Minnesota's plan is. They
Mm-hmm.
drafted, I think, like 11th or something. I don't think they're really
Yeah.
in a position to draft one.
Now, granted,
Um,
this is a draft for quarterbacks. There are
it
a
is, but
few
most of them are
young
going in the
quarterbacks.
top 10. Most
Yeah,
of them are
yeah,
going in the
and
top 10 between Caleb and
agreed,
Drake and
agreed.
JJ. Listen, JJ might be going in the
Yeah,
top 10 now.
you got Jaden
Jaden
Daniels.
Daniels. They're thinking all of them are going top 10 now. So if
Mm.
that happens,
Mm-hmm.
who are you left with? Like, so, you know. I
And
maybe
don't get me wrong too, because I don't think any of those. I don't actually think any of those quarterbacks are like short shots. By the way,
for
I
sure.
think a lot of those, if not all of those quarterbacks, Caleb's probably the closest, but I still don't think. I still think he needs to be in the best position possible as well. A lot of them have to be in the best position to really
Absolutely.
truly flourish and succeed. So I don't. I agree with you. Like, and so I'm big on. You mentioned it too. Like, if you already have a good quarterback, unless you are sure it is a surefire thing, that this is you got the next person up. Like, don't like okay, we can go back to a few years ago, right? When the Chiefs they drafted Patrick Mahomes, but they still had Alex Smith, right? And
Right.
they had Alex Smith still start. And Alex Smith was actually he was a serviceable quarterback. He was a above average quarterback. I'll leave it at that. I don't think he was great or anything like that, but he was an above average quarterback. Didn't make a lot of mistakes. But there was a point when they realized that we should move on for him. But that was simply because we already have our quarterback, right? We already have somebody waiting. If you just going out there and saying, "Are we gonna let you go?" We might pick this person up. We might do that. NFL is too tough to get good quarterbacks, man. The good quarterbacks are they're a dime a dozen, man. It's tough to get.
Yeah, I mean, and the funny, the I won't say funny. The bad thing about Kirk is 9 times out of 10, you're not winning a championship with Kirk.
Right.
Now he can make you into a good team, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
But he's not that guy that's going to really, unless your team's,
Already good.
yeah. And and I don't think none of those are on the market. I'm trying to. That's why I think Minnesota's the best, and I think Minnesota should want him back because I don't know what Minnesota's options are either. Now,
Hmm.
Minnesota, if there is an ability to take a quarterback at 11, I would do it, but I'm still bringing Kirk back,
Yeah.
for a short term, maybe a couple years. I mean, Kirk is old. I mean, he's not in a way he's looking for a long term deal anyway. So at this point, a 2 year deal with Minnesota, and then you draft a
Yeah.
quarterback at 11. I think that's just the best case scenario.
Yeah. And let him
You're not
sit for a
winning.
couple of years.
Yeah, like I'm sorry, you're not winning in the next 2 years. And so let's get a quarterback, groom him. You just go still win some games with Kirk and call this a day. So I think that's best case scenario for Kirk. But I do want to change topics to another guy in the quarterback
Hmm.
market, who
Mm,
everyone's
mm.
talking about, who's
I
very
know where this is going.
polarizing.
I know where this is going.
Russell Wilson.
Uh huh.
So
Uh huh.
where do we see Russell Wilson playing next year? That's a tough one for me. I
You you
I
want to know
can't
where I think
pinpoint a
he's
team
going?
yet. Where
You want to know where I think he's going?
I think I might know, but go ahead.
I have no clue. I I'm gonna be I'm gonna be real honest. I have absolutely no clue where Russell Wilson is going. But if I had to
It's
take a
weird.
guess, if I had to take a guess, okay, and I do have uh, uh, someone who will be very opposed to this, but be ready because he very well might be going to the Steelers. I personally think would be a solid get for them because what else are they going to do? We're going to run it back with Kenny Two Gloves. We're going to run it back with Mason Rudolph.
Not
Mitchell.
Kenny Two Gloves.
We bring in Mitchell back like for I like what I mean. He's better than any of the three of those, any of them, and
For
I
sure.
mean like he's better than all of them put together. Even with some of the issues now this past season wasn't he actually I actually didn't think he was bad. I thought he was average. He was a above average, average to above average most games. He started off a little rough, and I think some of that was just Sean Payton didn't want him as the quarterback. I didn't like the way Sean Payton went about it, but that's my personal opinion or whatever.
Trash.
They were trying to get Russell out of there. They were trying to make Russell fail. And Sean Payton didn't want Russell there, and that was from the start. And then we saw it at the end. We saw what he did at the end, and he wasn't going to play him, and how they treated him at the very end of the season. It was poorly done. I didn't think Russell deserved that. Russell just went out there and did what he went out there and played. Like He won them a couple of games. He lost them a couple of games. It happens. But I think he's better than all those quarterbacks. I think that would be a good space for them. I don't think he would be good in Atlanta. I don't want to say don't think he would be good, but I don't think that would be the best place for him. Um, I'm trying to think of other places that are looking for quarterbacks. Could he go to? Could if what if Baker doesn't go back to the Bucks? Could he go to the Bucks? You know, they like to run a lot of play action.
I like him in Tampa Bay, actually.
They like to run some play action, even though they don't run the ball that well. They do run they do run a lot of good play action. I think he could do the same things that Baker did.
Yeah, absolutely. That's
I don't think.
I think that's why I like him. I like him in Tampa Bay. That was actually a good. I didn't think of Tampa Bay.
Mm-hmm.
There is another team that you're leaving out. Where I think that he could end up. That is in New York, and it's with the Giants.
I have heard that
Uh,
they are done
they
with
are.
Daniel
I
Jones'
think they're done.
experience.
I think they might be done with the Danny Dimes experience.
Yeah, yeah. He ain't dropped no
And New
dimes in
York,
years.
right? And New York is another place that likes to make splashes, and I feel like I'll say as big of a disaster as I believe that would be, I could very well see them doing this and getting him and bringing him in
And do
there.
you think it would be a disaster? Why do you think it would be a disaster? I guess let me ask that question.
Well, Saquon's leaving more than likely.
Yes, he is.
We will get into that. So you won't have a
Mm-hmm.
running game.
Mm-hmm.
Um, do they have any reputable receivers that we care about over there in New York? I mean, hey, this is. I feel like this is Denver all over again. I mean, this is another
And
situation where
probably worse.
in a really really tough division. Like it's a terrible division
Yeah,
to be starting out in. I mean,
yeah,
I don't.
yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, with the Eagles and the Cowboys,
Dallas.
so
Yeah.
I'm trying to understand where
And
that
Washington's
fits.
always at least scrappy, if nothing else.
They are
So
scrappy, but they starting over from scratch. So I don't quite know what they got going on over there yet. But we'll see. I mean, that's the
yeah.
thing. They got a whole new ownership, coach, everything. So we'll see. And so my thing is that would be a disaster. I do like. Unfortunately, our friend does not, but I do like him in Pittsburgh as well.
Yeah,
I do
yeah,
like him in Pittsburgh.
yeah.
I do, because to me in Pitt, you don't need that. You don't need um 400 yards a game in Pittsburgh.
Nope, nope.
Is there something about Pittsburgh's the way they run their
Mm-hmm.
team in which they
Mm-hmm.
just need a veteran guy who's not going to make mistakes, man, and who
Somebody
can
who's
move the
competent.
football. And last time I checked, Russell's stats from last year were pretty good.
They
Um,
were.
his team was just not good,
He
and
does
I
have a
feel like
fumbling issue, though.
he
I'll
does have a
leave that up
fumbling
there.
problem. He does. But he's much better than the two quarterbacks they have on staff right now.
100%.
And my thing is, and they made the playoffs with them. So I feel like Russell on that team is a
Mm-hmm.
good addition. I don't think
Mm-hmm.
that's a bad addition at all. Whether
Mm-hmm.
we like Russell or don't like Russell as a person, that
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
is a good addition to the
Agreed.
Pittsburgh Steelers.
Agreed.
Um, Another team I could see him going to just because they do stupid things is Oakland, or Las Vegas. Las Vegas Raiders. There's another team who's picking kind of the high team, 10, 11, 12, somewhere in there,
Yeah,
who
they're
may
in a
not
weird
get
position.
who may not also, they might fall out of the QB
Mm-hmm.
race,
Mm-hmm.
and be able to pick up QB.
Mm-hmm.
They might get desperate.
Mm.
And because I don't think Russell's signing anytime soon. I don't. Personally, I
Mm.
don't think he's signing because
Yeah, no.
well,
He's gonna
he's not.
I, I can see the
It'll
other
be after the draft
quarterbacks.
to me.
Yeah, it'll be after those other quarterbacks too, I believe.
For
I don't
sure,
think
yeah, because
it'll happen right
I
away.
don't think no one's rushing out to go get Russell because his it's not going to be a lot of suitors for one. There's better quarterbacks on the market in the draft, so I think they're going to wait. But I do think he ends up with the odd man left out. Whoever that is, whether that's the Steelers, whether that's the Giants, whether that's Las Vegas,
Mm-hmm.
whether that's Atlanta. I don't think he ends
Mm-hmm.
up in Atlanta, but it could be.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I think there's a lot of options there, but I think he'll be the kind of the guy people fall
Mm-hmm.
back on if stuff don't work out. So that's kind of where I see Russ gonna be chilling for a little bit. I think
Mm-hmm.
Russ will be chilling. I did hear he took a meeting with Pittsburgh and he took a
Mm-hmm.
meeting with the Giants.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see. But
You
as of right
you
now,
you hit the nail on the coffin though, man. Like, you hit the nail on the head, I should say. That that if he went, the Giants would be a terrible,
oh yeah,
terrible
disaster,
decision.
disaster.
And it's more to it too, right? Not just because say Saquon and the receivers, right? Or Saquon being gone and the receiver non-existent. Um, New York is New York.
The market, ooh
New
wee,
York is a difficult market. Okay,
yeah.
they would tear. He got torn up in Denver. Okay, they didn't
New
like
York, let's
him
ride.
in
That's
like
gonna be bad. It's
like
gonna be bad out there, man.
man.
Gonna
Just
eat him alive from the jump.
go to blue collar Pittsburgh. Go
That's
to
what I'm saying. It
they'll be
fits.
happy. They'll be happy to have somebody who's competent. You had a rough, and he'll be looking to prove something. So go there. You'll have a veteran, a Super Bowl winning coach, and Mike Tomlin. Also,
Fits and
he's a Super Bowl winning quarterback. Like y'all can figure this out. Y'all kind of know how those little things go. And Mike Tomlin will probably hold him accountable for certain things, right? Different things that he would want from him. But I also don't think he would belittle him to the media the way his previous coach Sean Payton just did, which
absolutely.
was absolutely ridiculous. The whole season he was doing that from the start, right?
I mean, I think
Um,
Russell carries himself the way Mike will want his quarterback
yes,
to carry himself. So,
yes, yes.
so to answer the overall question, I think that's where I think that's where Russell ends up ultimately. I think he ultimately ends up in Pittsburgh when
Okay.
all the dust settles over this. I feel like it's about to be a crazy few weeks here. With I think there's a lot of stuff coming down the pipe, but I
Mm-hmm.
think that is where he ends up at some point throughout this offseason.
And I want to finish off a little bit of the quarterback section simply with this. I don't really think there's a. I do think he gained himself a better market because he played well this past season. I don't think Baker Mayfield leaves Tampa Bay, by the way. So I'll just
It wouldn't
I'll
behoove
throw
him
that out
to
there.
do that. It
I,
wouldn't behoove him to do that. He's not starting anywhere else. So I look. I like Baker, but unless someone gets hurt, I don't see him starting on any other team. Personally, I don't. I mean, he's good, but I'm not getting rid of my starting quarterback for Baker Mayfield. So I think he should stay there. I don't see any reason for them to move on
mm-hmm,
because again, we're talking about the Bucks here. They're not in a
mm-hmm.
prime position to get a quarterback either. So so I mean, unless they're trying to throw their name hat in the Justin Fields band, market, or I mean, Justin
I don't think
Fields.
so.
They have to be doing something though. I mean, let's talk about it for a
Yeah,
second. They have to be doing something. They
yeah,
just gave Mike Evans a whole lot of money,
a lot of
so
money.
he has to believe that they're bringing somebody in, either
Yeah,
whether that's Baker or they
either they're
got
keeping
the
Baker.
eye of somebody else.
Yeah, somebody's there. They told him that somebody else they assured him something, right?
Yeah,
Um, there's no way that he doesn't want to play with a good quarterback after going and winning a Super Bowl with the arguably the best quarterback or most accomplished quarterback we'll say in history, like a couple years ago. Like it's no way that he doesn't want to play with a quality quarterback. And again, like you said, maybe it is Baker, right?
mm-hmm.
He's enjoyed playing with Baker. I'm sure they had a decent season together. Baker almost had a slightly resurrected career with that. Not even slightly. He had a resurrected career with that season, last season.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody was talking about Baker Mayfield in free agency at the beginning of free agency,
Yep.
and where he was going to sign. He's probably in the top 10 of possible signings right now. So they either assured him they were going to be pushing for him, which is what I expect, or there is somebody else but the only other somebody else is Kirk going there, right? Is which they clearly couldn't have assured that because he hasn't even assured anybody of anything, so it couldn't be
I mean,
that.
could they swap? Could we see Baker in Minnesota? I mean, I can't believe the only issue with Baker is I can't see someone getting him saying this the guy that's about to get us over the hump. Like,
No,
So that's my issue. So like they can't get rid of Kirk and say I'm getting Baker. That doesn't add up.
because they're really in the
None of
same
these.
they're in the same spot to
Yeah,
me.
maybe
Baker's younger.
New York, maybe New York, maybe I can see you moving on from Danny Dimes and going to Baker.
I can
Sure,
see that. I can see that. And
but
I
he's
think
that's like, and maybe Pittsburgh,
nah,
but I
I don't
don't.
think he's a Pittsburgh guy. I don't
Me
think so.
either. Me
I don't
either.
think I don't think Tom
But
Miller will want him.
I think he should just stay in Tampa. I think the market is. But the problem is I don't know if Tampa wants him, and I that's tough. They were you know a play away from beating the Lions and
Yeah.
going to the NFC Championship game. So it's it's a tough position because I feel like with our team with the Lions, we can empathize with the position that the Buccaneers are in, to a certain extent of not having this quarterback that you just can't get rid of,
hmm
but feel like you can always get a better one,
hmm
you know.
But
But
then
he still
also
got you
feel
so far.
yeah, exactly.
So like
Yeah.
you're dealing with that aspect and like how much are you paying Baker Mayfield? That's the question. Like I
mm
think that's the issue here because how much are
mm
you paying him? He's probably gonna want starter money. Danny Dimes makes 45 million a year.
And he's not very good.
Are you paying Baker Mayfield $45 million a year? That's tough. That's a tough question. It's a tough
But
question. Technically,
I
he
mean,
earned it.
I was gonna say it's a pros and cons to both because you can
Yeah,
look at it from both views. You can say, like you just said, Daniel Jones is out here making 45 a year, and he's not good.
that's what everybody. But that's what everyone's going to say. So like Jared
And
Goff
nobody
can go
ever
into
thought he was worth that, by the
negotiations,
way.
right? Jared Goff can go into negotiation, tell him why I'm making more than him. I got to at least make more than
I'm
him.
far better than him.
Yeah, so I got to make 50. Baker like sure, I got to make like 48. Like I
Yeah, yeah.
so and then it's tough because the question is, has he earned that money? Of course. The question is, we're not paying you for what you've done. We're paying for what you're going to do. Is he going to
Yes.
play at $48 million a year level?
Yep.
Is that Baker Mayfield?
Because you
Or
only get paid for what you've done if you've done something incredible, like win a Super
absolutely,
Bowl or get them to the Super Bowl or things of that nature. Like you don't get paid
absolutely,
for. That's the only time you get paid for what you've done, right?
yeah. So it's tough because I know that's probably the hold up. Baker's probably asking for a bunch of money, and they're skeptical to give it to him. So we'll see. I mean, that's what I said. A lot of weird things are going to happen over the next few weeks because I don't know exactly how these things will play out. It's strange. It's easy to kind of talk about Kirk and all them, but the QB markets. It, it's a lot going on
Yeah,
because I feel
yeah,
like a lot of things has to happen. And I think all gonna start kind of with the Justin Fields situation, and then
yeah.
we'll see all the dominoes start to drop from there.
You make a great point there. I really think everything does kind of depend on what the Bears do,
Yeah,
right?
because everybody
How the
wants Justin.
Bears go about it. They
Yeah,
know his age makes a ton of difference in
absolutely,
everything else and everybody else's quarterback situation and what they have going on. Um, and the Bears are just in a prime position, literally, to do whatever they want, right?
the,
Um,
the Bears, man.
they're playing with house money when it comes to this particular situation.
Think what they're gonna get for Justin Fields.
hmm
Like they
hmm
already got the first pick,
hmm
they got the ninth pick,
hmm
and you're trying to trade your franchise quarterback, which could also net you multiple first round picks.
Yep, they're easily going to get 2 to 3 for sure.
So, and one will probably be from this year as well. So
hmm
now, if they trade him before the draft, which if they're trading him, they should trade him before the draft. So that's just going to be
hmm
insane. I mean,
hmm
the Bears. I mean, man, if this was the Lions, man, we had draft Brad Holmes drafting. Come on, man, it'd be wild. But you know, I'm sure they're gonna get their quarterback. They're gonna get their outside. They're gonna get their tackle.
Just,
They all need a lot, but
I don't
it's gonna be
understand.
quality.
I don't understand why the Bears have are just giving up on them so quickly. I don't really get it. I don't. It's
Well,
no
they feel
it's
like
no sure
Pat
thing.
Mahomes coming out this year, so
2 seasons ago, I thought that about Caleb. This past year I kind of stepped back and was like, maybe he's not just there yet. He still needs to go into the right situation. But hey, The talent is there for sure, but man, I don't.
I've never seen
Mm,
them like this before.
I,
I've never
this is
seen. I mean, you've seen guys give up on quarterbacks who weren't, who are
sure.
uh, not performing,
Yeah,
but
Josh
we know
Rosen.
that. But we know they're still good. Josh Rosen, for instance, Jared Goff, for instance,
Mm-hmm.
guys are, they weren't bad. They were
Well,
still good.
Josh Rosen wasn't. They gave up on him in the year, so we
But
didn't really.
yeah,
We don't know
but I
what he
mean, we
was.
just yeah, I mean, we found out quickly because we never heard from him again. But at the end of the day, um, they still when I say we ever seen it, this is a guy who on most teams, Buddy is like an MVP style quarterback. I mean, the problem with him is he doesn't throw the ball very often. I mean,
Hmm.
this is the
Yeah,
so I don't know if that's their offense or if
he
that's
was
his
running
fault.
for the. He was running for his life a lot in
Yeah,
Chicago. I mean,
and
Justin Fields was running for his life a lot.
yeah, I think the one knock you can have on him is that he's more of a run first quarterback. He's kind of looking to run. I mean, his first sign
Which
of
is
trouble, he's up out of there, which
which is
is
odd
fine.
because in college he wasn't that way.
He did not do that.
He
Buddy was
ran,
slinging it
but
right.
yeah, he was throwing. That's why a lot of me still goes back and thinks like, well, I still think we need to see him with a decent O line. I don't think
Exactly.
his O line was awful. And I don't think. I mean, they got a little better this past year, but they still weren't good. And so he's always having to run for his life and having to panic and run out of there. We don't really know if he can read defenses, right? We don't know if we know he has a good arm, but we don't know how if he knows how to use it, right? We don't know if he certain things. So I think that all comes into play. And I think just a new situation for Justin Fields. I think is going to be make a world of difference. If I'm being honest,
Yeah, I just
a
think
world of difference.
yeah, and I think the Bears are just fumbling the bag.
Yes.
This is the perfect draft for them to trade back, get some draft capital,
And get
trade back to
multiple
like 3 or 4,
players.
and you can get Marvin Harrison, and you still got the ninth pick, so you can still get the best offensive tackle in the draft. You get the best receiver, best offensive tackle. Trade back, you probably get another first round pick, maybe get a defensive.
Maybe a late
I
one.
mean, come on. I mean, this is silly to me. I mean, honestly, this is absolutely silly.
In
This isn't.
Madden, I would be cooking with this team in the offseason.
I mean, this is dumb. Like you guys, yeah, they got mad money too. Like this
Yeah,
is crazy. This
yeah,
is absolutely crazy. But
yeah.
just start all over. I mean, as a Lions fan, cool,
Go for it. Go
do it
for
up.
it. Go for it.
I hate playing Justin Fields 2 times a year
Hate it.
anyway.
Hate it.
So if you want to give me Caleb, I will gladly take Caleb.
Go for it.
I will take the unknown over getting rushed on for 150 yards a
The
game. So
unknown rookie who's not going to be as explosive as
yeah,
clearly as Justin Fields, and they're like,
absolutely.
and Caleb can run too, by the way, but he's not
He
like
can.
he's not Justin Fields.
He not
He
he not
he
running like
ain't
that.
Justin Fields.
Yeah, no,
Like
he's not running like Justin Fields.
as a
So
mobile quarterback, whoo,
yeah,
he
it's
scares
stupid.
you. Yeah.
It's stupid. So um, is Justin Fields a Super Bowl winning quarterback? I don't know. Probably not. But the thing is,
Not
the
today.
dude is not today. And put in the right situation, the right coach, he might turn into that. So I don't know. Because last time I checked, I'm a Michigan fan, right? And I saw Justin Fields for four times against Wolverines, and it wasn't pretty. That
Nah,
man
he
can
used to
throw
carve us
that
up.
football. That man can
Yeah,
throw that football. He's very,
yeah.
very accurate. So I
Hmm.
feel like you put him with a good O line, a good
Hmm.
running game, and some receivers, which the Bears can get all that this offseason. But
Hmm.
hey, that's neither here nor there. So
Go to
we'll
Atlanta,
see. Yeah,
Justin.
we'll see.
Lobby for Atlanta, man. Do it.
Yeah,
I
we'll
just want
see.
to see it. I just want to see it. I would, as a football fan, I would enjoy getting a chance
With
to watch
Bijan
and
coming
see
out
what
the
he can do.
backfield,
Oh my
come on,
goodness. Oh
stupid,
my goodness. That would
stupid
be.
over there.
You know what that would remind me of? Like back when Atlanta used to have Vic and Ward Dunn in the backfield together. Scary combination.
That's scary
And
combo, scary hours,
Bijan is bigger, but he moves like Ward Dunn and very very lateral like Ward Dunn was. Make people
and he
miss.
can catch out the back.
Yes, yes,
That would just be ugly over there.
yes,
So
yes,
that's what I'm saying. I think Atlanta
yes.
needs to go ahead and make that happen.
They got to pull the trigger on
Trade,
that, man.
trade the kitchen sink and get him. That's all.
Keep those
That's what I
offensive
say.
weapons and just trade,
That's what I
man.
say.
Like, do it.
That's
That'll
what I
be
say.
great. Give whatever draft picks the Bears want. Just Go ahead.
Absolutely.
Make it happen.
So let's go to one more position group on the offensive side of the ball. Let's step back to the running backs real quick. We already know this
This is a big
running
one.
back market is tough as far as getting paid is concerned.
Mm-hmm.
So, we got some guys, some big names in there this year.
Yeah, there's some big
Some big
names, man.
names.
They haven't officially said one of them, right?
Which one?
Derrick Henry, right? Is he? He's not
No,
official.
he isn't
Is he
there.
officially a
He
free agent
isn't
now?
there.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
I'm
So I
pretty
didn't
sure
know.
I saw him on the list.
Okay,
I saw him.
so you got Derrick Henry and Saquon
And
as free
Saquon.
agents.
You got Austin Eckler too.
Austin Eckler.
Even though he had a bad year, but
I'm not a big Austin
you're
Eckler
not
fan.
sold. Yeah.
That's just a. I'm not as a lead back. Like I think he'd be good as
For sure.
a
I understand
second
that.
back, third down back. Like he'd be great there.
I get it now. I mean, that
I
point
never
is
understood
valid
why the Chargers had him
today.
as the lead back. Honestly,
I mean, that point is valid. That point is valid today. He had a horrible season last year. So he I don't know what his future looks like in the NFL. Running backs are just tough. When you show any sort of kind of decline,
they'll get rid of you.
a la Ezekiel Elliott, Dalvin Cook. You show any kind of decline is raps for you. So I
Out of
don't,
here.
I think it might be, he'll be somewhere, but on the real cheap deal. But as far as Saquon is concerned, let's start with the top of the cream of the crop. Where do we think Saquon is going?
Wait, hold on. Is he the cream of the crop, or is Derrick Henry?
Absolutely, Saquon.
Ooh, that's a conversation
sure.
right there.
You feel like Derrick is the cream of the crop in this and over Saquon?
So I think
Derrick is
Saquon.
older.
Okay, that's what I was about to say. If we're just going, if we're going off of success, Derrick Henry
and running style, that's an issue. People don't like big dudes who run over people.
It's still working to this day. It worked to the end. That last game he had.
It is working, but I'm just saying that
was incredible.
They use that against you in negotiation.
It was true King Henry in fashion.
For sure.
But I agree. Saquon obviously is the more attractive signing due to his age, due to his ability to, and I feel like his last couple of years he didn't have a lot of wear on him, right? He missed some games. Some of it was injury. I think some of it was more just they didn't want to rush him back because what was the point? The team wasn't good.
Or he didn't want to rush back.
He didn't. Yeah, exactly. That's the best word. The best way to say it. He didn't want to rush back because their team.
And he didn't want to go back to New York, so that makes you think that makes you think that he was kind of chilling too. I'm gonna save myself. I don't want to because they tried to get him back. They offered him big money. He said
no, which to me was smart. Now I don't know where he'll go though. That's the thing. Say bye to the money. As a running back is okay. As a running back is difficult, right? Because like you said, when there's any decline. Oh, goodness gracious. And the problem with it is, the problem with the decline is that when they see it, a lot of times it's true, unfortunately. Right? Yeah. Out of nowhere, it'll be true. And and for running backs, it just happens out of nowhere. Like, it just, all of a sudden, they're just not as good as they were. Dalvin Cook, 2 seasons ago, or 3 seasons ago, was a top 3 running back in the league. Top 3.
Absolutely.
Top
and now
3.
And now he's essentially out of the league.
2 seasons later, he can't, and really last season he was still great, but or the season before this past one, he got hurt, but he was great until he got hurt.
Wait, not last season, not the one that just ended.
Not this previous season that just ended.
The one, okay, I got you.
He was great, and then he got injured, and then from then on, they were like.
But Madison became good,
and this good.
Because Madison just got released a year later. So
I told
now
people at the beginning of the season. Told people at the beginning of the season he was never going to be. Madison was never a lead back, man. I don't know what they thought. Like he was never a lead back. Yeah,
money.
Well, you're right.
They didn't want to pay Dalvin.
You're right.
Which essentially worked out because Dalvin had a bad year too. But granted, he ended up in a bad situation.
Very bad.
He held out all the way to he went to New York, but New York just ended up being a dumpster fire.
The
So
Jets was a complete dumpster fire. I think it
yeah,
would have
so
worked out a little bit better for him had Aaron
if
Rodgers not hurt
absolutely,
for
absolutely,
snaps into the season. So
absolutely. If that, and shoot, might have been the second snap, but he,
yeah, I feel like
man,
you might be right. I
that
think it
was
was
early.
four plays. I think it was four plays. It
Was
was
it?
the first
Okay,
drive though. First drive for
for
sure.
sure. But he, I think with Dalvin, like I think Dalvin's done. So my thing with Saquon is Saquon has to be a little careful, given the
Mm-hmm.
history of what happened especially last year with the running
Mm-hmm.
back market. I do
Mm-hmm.
think he's going to get paid, but I think the suitors are going to be kind of low. I don't know. I'm trying to think of a team who would pay top dollar for a running back right now. I can think of one. I could think of two. Actually, now that I think about it, there are two teams who would definitely do it, and they're in the same division.
Mm.
Howie Roseman over there with Philadelphia loves star players. I can see them making that move, and I can also see Dallas doing it. I can see Dallas picking up Saquon as well. Another team that loves star players. Another team that side note, these are teams
I
that he's also connected to.
I think
Apparently, there's
Saquon could
mutual
do.
interest over in
Yeah,
Philly too.
I did hear about that.
Um, but there's another
I
team I
think
forgot who.
he could do great with Dallas, and I know that I hate saying that, but the way Dallas plays, he could do a lot of the things that. For one, he could do everything that Ezekiel Elliott used to do, but he can also do things that Pollard can do. He's the
Absolutely,
combination of the two of them. And so
absolutely.
that's really the interesting piece to it, where that could be interesting. I don't want to see that as a Lions fan, but
Yeah, I was about to say,
but
neither of those two teams I want to see him go to. The
I
third team
prefer.
I did just remember the third team, Houston. Um,
Mm,
so going over there with C.J. Stroud,
mm,
him and
mm.
C.J. over in Houston, that would
And
be
Houston has a ton of money. They have a ton of money.
exactly.
They have a
Exactly.
ton
So
of
they
money.
were saying that's also a link as him in
Mm,
Houston. I like that better.
mm,
But as far as if he's trying to win, I could see unfortunately Philly. And I just do not want to see Buddy in Philly. I just don't. I feel like
mm.
Philly gets anybody who's available. Like that junk is just so annoying to me. Like it's I don't know how Howie Roseman makes it happen like that, but they move money around. Swift gonna be hurt though. I ain't gonna lie. Swift gonna be hurt.
Because he's had the best season of his career, and
Buddy just got there, best in his career, made the Pro Bowl, and gonna get outed just like that. It's kind of crazy, but maybe they'll run a two back system with him and Swift. I don't
but
know.
they do a lot of the same things. So
Yeah,
like
yeah,
an
they're not really
actual
this.
like ability, Saquon just does it better.
Absolutely,
Like
absolutely. I
so,
mean, there's no like yin and yang. It'll just be like
yin,
the same guy.
yin and yin,
Uh, yeah.
wait,
So
yin and yinger. Like
yeah. So I mean, yeah, Saquon just does a little better than what Swift does it, but I mean, they do the same thing. So
Saquon's
I
a
don't
little
know
more physical, so I will give him
for
that.
sure. Oh,
He's definitely
absolutely,
got some
absolutely,
physicality to him.
absolutely.
Um,
But I do feel bad for Swift in that regard.
mm,
But at the
mm.
same time, yeah, no, Saquon there. Derrick, on the other hand,
Derrick's. I think he's
Derrick's
actually
tough.
better. I think he's actually better suited to go to Philly, and the reason being is because they have Swift there, and there would be that he wouldn't have to take all of the snaps, right?
I agree.
With him being older, they get a power back which they need in certain situations. So I think that would make that interesting right there. Um,
I agree. But I don't think Philly is thinking of it that way.
they're not.
Um,
They're
I
not.
don't think Philly is thinking of a two back system.
They don't
They
have the
just want to
same
do
links that they do with
especially
Saquon.
with the way things ended last year. These dudes just want names, bro. Like
Yeah, yeah.
give me Saquon Barkley to pair with
Mm-hmm.
Jalen Hurts. Um, you know, I feel like whatever Philly got over there is kind of broken anyway. So I
Mm-hmm.
would hope he don't go there, just because I don't know what's going on in that locker room.
It starts
Um,
with the top, but we've covered that
it
before.
does. Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
I don't
Mm-hmm.
have to go down. I know I've already had my rant about Nick. I don't have to go down that rant
Your
no more.
favorite coach? Your favorite head
Oh
coach?
man, yeah, I don't have to go back down that rabbit hole again. But with them losing their big, the locker room guys. I mean, they two of the locker room guys just retired. So y'all couldn't even get it back on the rails with them there. I don't know what y'all about to do without them.
Running back consider Jason Kelsey leaving? You have to, right? As a running back, you have to think about that, right? That's a center. That's an all-pro center who is
Absolutely,
gone, and he was a big, like you said, a big locker room guy. He was a great center. Like, like
big
that's
deal.
he a top two center in the league. Top two.
Yeah, I
I
need
say
Philly to
two
go worry
because
about replacing him. I think Philly they got their priorities a little jacked up. Then they need to go worry about replacing that Jason Kelsey and Fletcher Cox. They got to
mm-hmm.
figure that out. I understand they got Jordan Davis. I get it, but you're gonna need another one. I mean,
Yeah,
Jordan Davis was because wait, did Brandon? I think Brandon Graham came back too. I think
yeah.
Brandon Graham did
He
come back
came
for
back,
another year.
but he's
He did
also
come back, but
it's about to be his
oh,
14th
so
season. All right,
yeah. So
like
my thing is, they're good because they had an array of defensive tackles. Like they had a
mm-hmm,
lot of them rotating in and out. So
mm-hmm.
you lost probably arguably your best one from last year.
Your voice
I
on
understand Jordan
defense
Davis. Yeah. So you're gonna get worse. Jordan Davis is a dog though. I ain't gonna lie. So I
for sure.
mean him. I'm sure he'll fill that void seamlessly. But you're gonna need
And
another guy.
they have your guy, who they drafted last, the other one that they you
You're
said
right.
Jordan Davis. What's his name? I cannot think of his name right now. He went number. He was a top three pick.
Oh,
Versus
the other
why I
one,
can't think
yeah,
of.
no, the other one. I can't
I don't
think
know.
of his name,
I don't
bro.
know
Like,
why I can't think of his name right now, but
from Georgia, right? Dang, we
we both
going blank.
we both going blank
Tell you
right
how much
now.
I care about
That's
that team.
crazy.
Um,
You wanted the
uh,
Lions to draft him originally.
I know, I know,
We still can't think of his name. That's funny. I
I
gotta look
know,
it up because it's gonna make me upset if I
I
don't
know.
figure it out.
Now we got to actually go through and look
Uh,
at who the
this
who the
is
Eagles
sad.
drafted.
Sad. I
Was it
can't think of his name.
2022?
No, this is just last season. Um,
My man's,
yes,
my
yes.
man's was out there drag racing. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
What's his
I still
name?
can't think of his name. I still can't think of his name.
uh,
but,
uh,
but
really, I'm really blanking. But
man,
go.
Jalen Carter. But anywho,
There we go. Thank you.
so
Thank you.
Jalen Carter, yes, Jalen
Man.
Carter's there. Jalen Carter's also a dog. So,
Yes.
um,
He's a monster, honestly. Like he
yeah. So
is a
I mean,
monster.
they do have their they do have their front set, but they don't got the rotational pieces no more, which is a big deal, especially in the NFL. So you're gonna need that. Now I think they need to get that all situated over there and whatever else they got situated. So they need to stop worrying about Saquon. But Saquon to Houston and Derrick Henry. You're right. I feel like Derrick Henry would be best suited there. The pair with Swift. I could also see again. I could see him in Dallas. I could definitely see Derrick in Dallas.
Hmm.
Derrick, I, I just think his market's not going to be as high,
It's
personally.
not a 30
So
year old running back is not going to get as high a market. That's just not going to happen.
yeah,
He's literally 30 years old on the nose, and I don't think that's going to um that'll scare a lot of teams away for sure.
absolutely,
Even as
absolutely,
great, he still had a good season. He still had a. I mean, he was a little injured a little bit throughout the season, but when he played, he still played like Derrick Henry.
he did.
And he still that last game he had was. I mean, you're as good as what have you done for me lately? And what he
Yeah,
did lately, his last game, he was great. He had a very, like I said, King Henry performance. So people will remember that. It'll get him another job, starting job, but it just won't be right away. It won't be right
yeah.
away.
I mean, I'll say this, and then we can move on to defense. But I do want to. I think a team I will want to see him on. A good team would be Baltimore. I think
Mm,
Derek going to Baltimore, teaming up,
mm.
going to a two parter with J.K. Dobbins.
If he can stay healthy,
If he can stay
J.K.
healthy,
J.K. That is.
for sure. But that gives you another option
Yeah,
over
yeah,
there.
yeah.
Instead of going what they had to do this year, which
Hmm.
essentially just running Lamar Jackson to death.
Hmm.
They can still have that running back over there, and I think he fits them. Like he fits kind of what they, that tough, hard nosed
Want to run
kind
the
of
ball a
player.
lot. Yeah,
Now, granted, no, he's not that versatile, option kind of halfback, but I feel like it gives them another dimension to their running game, which is already number one in the league. That they could potentially use over there, and I'm sure at this stage in Derrick Henry's career, he's going to want to go to a contender anyway.
for
So
sure.
I could definitely see him there. I could see him in Philly. I could see him in Dallas. So
Mm,
that's what I got.
mm, mm, mm. Those seem like the most suitable teams for looking for running backs, right? And the running back is always hard to figure out who's going to go where people want to go because the market is just so people just don't value the position as much. They
Yeah,
just don't, and I feel like they should. By the way, the way that the effect that a very good running back can have on your team, I, I think people should value it more, but they just don't. I mean, they just don't.
yeah.
So I mean,
And
you
I
know,
think the unfortunate part is, especially with these kind of running backs, these aren't young guys, like young guys. These are guys who've played a decent amount in their career and have played
yeah,
on losing teams.
yep,
But they've been good. They're not
yep,
going to want to do that. So I don't think they're going out looking for a payday. They're going out looking for good teams. And unfortunately, that market is going to be a little bit dry,
yep,
as far as contending teams, because unfortunately, unless your name is Christian McCaffrey, if you're a running back, you're not getting, you're not going to be the difference maker whether I make the playoffs or don't make the playoffs, or win a championship or don't win a championship. Um, there's not too many running backs who have been the best player on their team and their team won a championship. That's just,
sure.
you know, that's not typically the case.
At least
And good
not
teams,
anytime recently.
right? And the really good teams don't spend money in that position, just because of that reason.
They
So they
don't.
don't have the money tied up, loose, enough to pay a Saquon Barkley, because they're not looking for a Saquon Barkley. They're looking for a
Yeah,
serviceable running back who they probably drafted a year or two ago,
yep,
and and then they're not going to pay them either. I mean, that's what the good teams do. I mean, the good teams don't have the name brand running backs. I mean, I don't
yeah,
know. I don't really know anyone who does, of the good teams. That's just kind of how they operate. So that part's tough for them, going forward. But I think if they could sacrifice a little money, they could probably find, they'll
yeah.
find they'll find a little gap in there.
On moving on to the defensive side, what are and as I'm looking at my list of free agents, what are some defensive players that might stand out to you? I know one the biggest name in free agency just actually re-signed with his team, that being Chris Jones. Obviously, he just signed
Yep,
a ridiculous 5 year, $160 million deal. Um, by the way, Chris Jones is 29. Okay, they signed him
ridiculous.
for a 5 year deal at 160 million at 29 years old, for a D tackle is kind of insane, right? I actually saw it last year. People won't notice it. I thought there was a minor decline, right? Not he was still great, for the most part, but I think I mentioned this in some episodes ago, right? Earlier in our pod, towards the end of the season, um, Chris Jones, when it the first half of most games was non-existent. He wasn't there. He was just there. He had a
Yeah,
low. I think he had a very his tackles were down this year. His sacks he did get his 10 and a half, I think it was, but some of that too was he wanted his money. He wanted his little bonus, so he worked hard for his sacks, and he would get sacks at the end of games, things of that nature, and they were timely sacks. But overall, he wasn't. He didn't seem like the same player. Even they would just won another Super Bowl, he didn't seem like the same player in the Super Bowl. Right? He had a couple of moments, but we've seen him in a couple other Super Bowls where he was far more impactful.
for sure.
Right? So that's going to
That's
be
silly to me.
interesting. I'm,
That was
I,
it was silly.
yeah, 5 years, 160. It just feels like for a team that receivers, for a team who has an aging, um, tight end, for a team
That's
that
I'm happy you're bringing that. That's where my mind is. I mean, my thing is, yes, you won a Super Bowl, but your team is declining. Let's call a spade for what the Chiefs are. The Chiefs are just so much better than everyone else that even on decline, they still stole themselves a championship on the way down. The
Mm-hmm.
problem is you're not going up; you're going down. This isn't a
Not with signings like this.
yeah. This is not an ascension. You guys were not good for the majority of this year. Like this is you're beatable all year long. This wasn't like
Mm-hmm.
you were never the best team in the league. This was,
Mm-hmm.
but you got you a chance. This was like a Patriots Tom Brady like hey we still up here
The
you
year they beat
know
the Rams, right? Where it was like,
right.
they
Yeah, like
weren't
they
what you
weren't the
thought.
greatest team. They
Yeah,
should lose, but they still got them. Tom Brady
yeah,
still snatched them one.
yeah,
You still got the best quarterback in the league, yes,
yeah.
but you got the best nothing else. So my issue is, and you're leaving this offseason, right? You're about to lose your best corner.
You're about to lose
Um,
a corner.
like these
Oh
are
my
things.
goodness.
You got Kelsey saying, "Oh, I'll be back next year." Cool. What about the year after that? So my thing is, he about to be gone within the next year or two. You still don't have no receivers.
None.
You guys are about to go undertold a small rebuild, like not a
Oh,
big one because you still
you're
got Pat Mahomes,
trusting
but
on
you're gonna have to
Kadarius Toney?
right. So my thing is, so you have no receivers. You don't got no money,
Mm-hmm.
especially now, and you just tied up your money into a defensive end who's 29. At the end of this
29.
deal, it's going to
5
be
years.
30, 34, 35 years old.
5 years.
That's
Um,
silly. Now, I can imagine they probably front loaded the heck out this deal.
they
They
had
had
to.
to.
They had
They
to.
had to. I mean, there's just no way Buddy is
Yeah,
going to be that old.
yeah.
I bet you this is closer to a 2 or 3 year deal. He
Sure.
probably get cut after a few years. That's
And
probably what happened.
with the NFL contracts, you can manipulate things with
For sure.
salaries
For
here and
sure.
there. So I
For
will
sure.
put that out there. But you
For
did
sure.
tie yourself to him for a couple of years, where I don't
I
think you
just
had to.
don't. I mean, I can see why it's tough. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's tough to do. Just to say we giving up. We just won a Super Bowl, and
Mm-hmm.
so why give up? But my thing is, your coach
Mm-hmm.
is probably gone soon. Like everyone's leaving. Like this isn't
Mm-hmm.
a situation. Like you're going to be rebuilding.
You're just
So
going to be leaving your
my thing
quarterback,
is,
your star
yeah,
quarterback, your Hall of Fame quarterback. We can only just call that what it is.
with nothing,
You're with nothing.
with no. Yeah,
In
I mean,
in 2 years,
that's tough.
he's
That's
going to be by
tough.
himself.
Yeah, like I don't see and then we see kind of you think we ask why the owner was rated as the worst owner in the NFL, and that's tough too. And you got a
Mm-hmm.
dynasty building, like it's tough.
Mm-hmm.
Players gonna want
Mm-hmm.
to come to Kansas City. Like
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, I don't
Mm-hmm.
know. That's just me.
Mm-hmm.
That was silly, but I digress. You asked me who's some top guy. My top guy right now, one of the top guys, Daniil
Um,
Hunter. I feel like
I was
Daniil Hunter
I just saw
had
I looking at my list right
fantastic
now.
season.
I was like, "Ooh,
Had a
that's."
fantastic season last year. I
Mm-hmm.
feel like he's not getting a lot of talk, enough talk, I should say. But
Same age as Chris Jones, had a better season.
that scares me a lot because we know how this market goes. And let me talk about my team. Talk about teams. We ain't brought up our team yet because well, just quite frankly, we need help on this side of the football. So we have So this is where we're at.
Yeah, so
So
nothing even. Yeah.
yeah, so Daniil Hunter to the Lions. And here's my issue with that. I want this to happen,
Mm.
but not for 5 years, $160 million. Like
Not at 29 years old. No.
I can't do
No.
that. And
No.
unfortunately, he just set the standard
Yes.
into which we will have to pay Buddy
Yes.
probably at least $150,
Yes.
$145.
120 at
Before
least. 120
I
for sure.
can't. I don't know if I can do that at five
Not
years. I
not for
just
a
I don't think I
29-year
could.
old, bro. I
Yeah,
just can't.
I
Like,
I don't think I can do that. Somebody else will though. So who?
so you
If
got.
that's gonna be his asking price,
Oh
I'm
man,
trying to think where.
I'm looking at
Who
different.
got some money? Who got money? Money.
Houston.
Atlanta, Houston. Houston. Do Houston need some DNs? I think they do.
Yeah, they do.
Um, Chicago.
Mm,
Does Chicago pick up a Danielle Hunter?
mm.
Interesting.
It is.
Interesting.
It is. It is. That's a very interesting proposition. Um, because Chicago loves them some defense, and they do have
They
a
do.
lot of. The thing is, they got picks, so they have freedom. They're about to get more picks when they trade Justin Fields. There are they have options.
Yeah.
Man, that could be. They did just and Chicago did just shore up a little bit more of their defense as they franchise tag. Or no, they didn't franchise tag them. They signed Jalen Johnson to a 4-year deal. Um, he was the top corner out right now, right? Between him and Snead, I guess. You can argue whichever one you want. I think one is better and Snead's better in man. Johnson's better in zone, but the point is that he was up there in that conversation. So they just shored that up. They're going to want to shore up another piece of the, on the edge. They're
Yeah.
definitely going to, they look like they're trying to get the quarterback in the draft. So why not go get an edge rusher, right? So
Yeah.
maybe that might be a good spot for him, right? Now, if I'll say this, if I'm a team, if I'm signing Daniil, right, I'm signing him for 3 years. I'm not
Right.
doing 5, right? 3 years, you can talk me into just about anything, um, compared to what Chris Jones got. 3 years, I can live with a few different things. 5, can't do it. Not at
It's
29,
tough.
can't do it. Can't do
Um,
it.
it's tough. I think. I think. It.
Christian Wilkins is on the market too, by the way, for Miami. He's also a D
He
lineman.
is.
So,
He is.
mm-hmm.
That's who we talk about him for. That's who I more so like for the Lions. I do like him. He's the D tackle.
I believe he's only 28.
He is,
Year
but
younger. I
you
know it's
know,
not crazy, but year
we're
younger.
with him. We're talking more around 100 million.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
100 million. For a 5-year deal. I
Ugh.
still don't want to do
I
five.
just don't want to fight. That's really
Yeah,
what I've
yeah.
come to. Like
I would like not to do a five.
a 5-year
Got Brian,
deal.
got Brian Burns too.
He
Also
well
edge
for
rusher.
him it would have to be a trade though because he just got franchise tag. He got
Did
franchise
he?
tag for
Okay,
24 mil. So
gotcha. Ooh. Yeah. See, so this is kind of
yeah.
this is just kind of where it's at. It's like
Mm-hmm.
especially for us on the Lions fan,
Mm-hmm.
we got to understand like
Mm-hmm.
Brad ain't been in the market of paying money to nobody. So,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if we'll do any of these deals, but Christian Wilkins, I think pairing him next to Lee McNeil, I think that is best case scenario for the
Oh,
Lions.
I just realized there's another edge rusher out here, right? Um, so he might stay with his team though. I didn't even think about this. Jonathan Greener
Uh huh.
for the
Uh
Texans.
huh.
He's only
Uh huh.
26. Now that's
He is
somebody.
on 26.
If you believe in him, that's somebody you give a 4 or 5 year deal, right?
Yeah.
Now he's not going to get as much as Chris Jones. He's not there yet, right? But definitely in the market. And if I'm the Texans, because they do need to keep. I mean, they need edge rushing, and if I'm them, I think Greener's pretty solid. So I would, if I'm them, I may resign him, but he could go somewhere
And
else.
they might. They
Yeah,
might. But as you said, Texans got a lot of money.
a lot of money,
Um,
a lot of money,
and they're young. So, they might be eager to spend it,
and they just won a division unexpectedly.
Yeah. So they might be just in this thing like, look, we
We might
about to
as well
throw it
go
all up
for it
against the wall. We about to set it on the table, bro. We about to just say, we are ahead of schedule. We about to just go for it now. Why not?
because why not?
Yeah. Let me put something into the defense to pair with
Mm-hmm.
CJ Stroud.
Mm-hmm.
Let the Texans end up with a good defense.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They automatically turn into a contender. Like, it's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
with the way CJ Stroud was. That's his first year. It's
First
gonna get
year.
better. It's gonna
Yeah.
get better next year.
Yeah.
Nico Collins. These players are young.
Yeah.
Offense is gonna
Yeah.
be crazy. What if they
Mm.
go out and get a Saquon Barkley and then a Daniil Hunter
Mm.
and then
Mm.
what if? Like, what if? So
They
they can turn
automatically.
into
You said it already. They automatically become a
they're
contender.
absolutely, absolutely. I mean, CJ Stroud is arguably. I'm not going to put that on him yet. We go wait till next season. But I'll say this: CJ competes with the top quarterbacks in the AFC. So my thing
I'll
is,
say one thing: he's the best quarterback under 25. I think that's fair to say.
I will have to look at that. I'll have to look at that. I don't know who's under 25 technically, but
I mean, Pat's over
that's
25, I
not
believe. Josh Allen should be over 25. They've been in the league for 4 or 5 years, 5, 6 years,
for
so they
sure.
got to
For
be.
sure.
Yeah. No, it's
25
no
and
way.
under or under 25?
What is that?
Oh well, yeah. I mean, I'm looking at this. Yeah. Well, yeah. No.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, that's not even a debate. The
yeah.
only person that you can have a conversation with is the person at 25, and that's Jalen Hurts. So, and people will have that conversation with you. I won't because that's silly.
I, I,
Um, but
yeah.
but people
It's
will
still very early. It's still very early to have. It's very early to talk about Stroud in a lot of different conversations. But if you're
for
asking
sure.
me,
Yeah, and we've talked about that.
but me personally, I was never a big Jalen Hurts person. Like if I'm putting together a team, he's not the quarterback I'm choosing. So me personally, I'm taking CJ Stroud because he's the type of quarterback I would prefer. Right. So that's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah, Jalen Hurts is overrated, so that counts for another day. But yeah, so as far as that's concerned, we do have, I believe, Kendall Fuller is
Yes,
another guy
but
who's out there. You know, he's more
another
he's more of a zone guy. Um,
aging defender though, 29 years
yeah,
old at cornerback,
yeah,
which is,
yeah,
I mean, you could get away with playing corner though till you're about 33, right?
for
If
sure,
you
for
know
sure.
if
Especially a guy like him who's a zone guy.
yes,
Man
yes,
to man guys, kind of like Snead. They don't their careers aren't as long because it's a little tougher. But guys who
yeah,
sit back in zone are a little easier, who just kind of rely on their instincts. And then them kind of guys typically go back to safety at some point anyway. So,
true, very true.
and then we got I think Awuzie. I can
Let
remember
me
spell the
see.
first name.
Yes.
Cornerback.
Yep,
I think he's becoming available. Um,
he is.
yeah, he's hitting the market. It's funny. I'm naming all these guys, and the best thing is the Lions need all these positions. So I'm just hoping the Lions get a couple of these guys. I mean, hey, we went an hour on this pod and not talked about our team. So I'm just throwing them in there. Because
And
that's
they
what I'm
got
rooting for the next couple of days. Uh,
we've talked about what they need over in ad nauseum. Okay, they need
for
a
sure, for
cornerback.
sure,
Okay,
and it's
that's
time and
the
it's time to go get it. And it's time to go
first.
get it. What
That
we
is the
need.
first priority. We need a cornerback. Anything.
We
I
need a
mean, there
cornerback.
are other things. Yeah, we could use another edge rusher, but the main priority is they need a cornerback. It's that simple. It's
Absolutely,
not.
we need a
It's
cornerback.
that simple. You need a number
Come
one
hell or high
cornerback.
water. Come
You need a
hell or high
cornerback,
water. I don't care how we get it. We just need to get it.
and probably you
Simple.
need to get two. So that's a
Probably. Probably.
however you get to two, you need two.
However
I'll
you
just
get
say
them.
that.
Draft, free agency, trade. I don't care. Get them.
And we did. Speaking of, we can even finish up. We did mention this to each other. We had a minor conversation about it. They did re-sign Mosley back, which for what they got for 1 year deal, um, I have no problem with it. I think if he's on the field, he was a good corner, not necessarily for the Lions because he didn't get a chance to show that, but previously to last season, if he's on the field, he's been a good player. So if he's on the field, good player for the deal that they got him. I have no issue with it.
I mean, sure.
Can't get worse
He
than
hasn't
the
played in 2 years. I
can't get worse
mean,
than the
yeah,
corners they
Buddy.
had.
Yeah, I mean, Buddy ain't played in a minute. So, my thing is, I'm sure they got him for $1 million or something.
Mm-hmm.
A dude, if he still ain't up to par, they'll cut him. I mean, that's just how that
Yeah,
works. They
yeah,
couldn't cut him last year because they paid him a decent amount of money. So this year, give him another shot. If it work out, cool. Best case scenario, we got him for cheap.
yep,
Probably got fat per game bonuses that he.
absolutely.
So if he makes the team and all this stuff,
Probably
he
got
probably got
health. He probably has health bonuses as well in his
for sure,
contract.
for sure,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, for sure. So if it works out, cool. I mean, good for the Lions. If it don't, cool. I mean,
Yeah,
cut him. I don't think re-signing him factors in at all into what the Lions need to do.
still
They
need
need to get
two
a
more
cornerback.
corners.
Absolutely. We have no cornerback, so we have one. number 2 cornerback, possibly number 3, depending on who you ask. But so we need to get 2 cornerbacks. So
Yeah.
so we got to go ahead and do that because I just saw something surfing the web saying Vildor can be our starting slot corner, and that's just blasphemy to me. So we need 2 corners. So Vildor can be a depth guy.
I will be.
He can go
Yeah, I would
compete
say
in training camp. I have no problems with that. He can be
I
our
will
new
be
Jerry
fair.
Jacobs. Go try
Fair
hard.
for what he was asked to do off the street. Vildor was fine most
He
of the
did.
way.
He did great, and he
He
earned
did great,
himself a
like
spot in training camp
for sure.
to
Absolutely.
make the team for sure.
Absolutely.
But that
Absolutely.
bounce off the helmet ensured me that he won't be our starting cornerback. So I can tell you that now.
Absolutely.
He definitely won't win that job, but he could probably be a fire on special teams or something. Especially since we got rid of Chase Lucas and stuff. Maybe he could just take his spot or something. I don't know.
Would you one more question? Would you bring Stephon Gilmore in for a year? I know he's a little older now, but I thought he played really well this past
like on a 1-year deal?
year.
Why not? At this point, why not? I feel like we're going for broke next year anyway. Why not bring somebody in on a 1-year deal? I mean, I wouldn't give him a multi-year deal, but 1-year situation, why not? Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
I thought he played
can't
really
hurt.
well for
Can't hurt.
and especially for his age. I thought he was really for Dallas. He actually played very well for Dallas. So
For sure. Yeah.
so
I mean, just let's be honest. It don't matter who the Lions bring in; it'll be better than what we had last year. So, it's kind of irrelevant. I mean, there's not no scenario in which we get someone or something draft and then it's worse. It can't be worse. And so, I mean, it don't matter who
it
else
can't be
we get.
worse from the bounce off the helmet.
Bounce off the helmet, getting burnt every 3 plays. I mean, it really can't. Giving up 200 yards to receivers for like 3-4 straight weeks, like it.
It
No,
can't get worse than how Cam Sutton played from week like 15 on. So
yeah,
it can't
that's
get
what I'm
any
saying. So
worse.
it just can't get worse. So I mean, I'm pretty sure we had the 32nd ranked secondary again for the whole year. So I mean, it cannot get worse than that. Granted, in their defense, we lost our 2 guys that we signed in the offseason, to injury early on. So, we was playing with essentially the same secondary we played with last year, 2 years ago now.
True.
So we just need guys. We need a lot, and we need a lot of them. Just give us a depth
guys that'll be on the
because we don't have
field.
that.
People
Right.
will be on the field.
Right. Because we didn't have no depth or nothing. So so let's just do that. So
One drafted
Gilmore
and then a vet. I need it.
Yeah,
So
Gilmore, Snead, Fuller, Woozy. I don't care. All of them, cool. Preferably. But yeah, I'll gladly take 2 of them and draft 1. Thanks for $300, Alex. That is what I would take. Sign 2, draft 1, and let's call it a day.
And even better, trade for Lattimore. All right. So I guess.
Oh man, trade for Lattimore. Yes, sir. It's music to my ears. Okay, last thing before we get off. Snead or Lattimore?
Lattimore first. My top choice.
Interesting. Okay.
The reason being, part of it is reports about Snead and his knee. So I don't,
I know, but I ain't heard nothing since about that since. So I don't know.
It was odd that it came out right when he was about to get paid.
And I ain't heard nothing about it since. Like, ain't nobody been saying nothing about that.
So it's kind of weird.
I ain't heard nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean,
he sure looked healthy. In that their Super Bowl in those playoffs to me. So
he did.
So
and ain't no way he asked for all that money if he got into some knee problems. So because he know ain't nobody can give it to him. So we'll see.
Somebody would, but
I don't know. I don't give him $100 million. And Duke can't practice. Nah, I doubt it.
Probably not. But I'm I would take Lattimore first, but it's not like it's a close conversation right now. The way Snead was playing this season, yeah.
Ultimately, it don't matter. It don't matter. It don't matter which one. It's better than what we got.
We need a number 1 cornerback though. That's for sure.
It don't matter because it's better than what we got. Either or. I'll take Elmo at this point. I don't care.
And hey, and your boy Jerry Jacobs was cut. So you out of here.
Yep. He about to go beat up the UFL, bro. trying to tell you, the USFL, you about to go have a field day over there.
This has
About to get
been
busy.
another wonderful episode from Third and 13, man. I'm we got more to talk about. We'll next week we'll be able to talk about actual free agent signings possibly and things of that nature and see what
Absolutely.
when stuff start hitting the wall, we'll see if it sticks. So
It's gonna get
um,
crazy tomorrow.
it's going to get
Next few days
crazy.
about to be nuts.
I'm interested to see if we get any trades, if we get anything going on. So from both of us, peace out. We'll catch y'all next one.
Peace.